back at St James Park on this pre-season, players back for the first time, all back together. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on what's happened over the last couple of months in putting a new squad together as the club faces its first season at National League level.
Yeah, haven't really taken a breath is the truth. Had the enjoyable night of obviously winning the league, and then the next day with really close friends and family, which was nice to sort of have a bit of downtime. But since then it's just been non-stop, so that's where a lot of the work goes on. Obviously it's going to be definitive for our season, so we have to be really astute and really proactive. So yeah, it's been a long summer, as it were, so I don't feel like I've been away really, but it's great to be back tonight and to see all the familiar faces and then some of the new faces as well. Great to get the lads together in the new training kit, looking fresh, all of them looking fit, so yeah, we're in a good place.
And you will have wanted that mix, to retain key players from last season and to introduce some new faces as well.
Yeah, I think we're going into uncharted territory, aren't we? I think everybody appreciates that, to stay in this league is going to be a bigger job than actually winning the National League North. So, it's all hands on deck, but that's why there's been so much work go on behind the scenes at the football club. Not just on the field, but off the field as well. On the field, there's been huge amounts, and part of that is just continuity. We know that there's probably a 3-year plan, and part of that to start with is keeping that continuity. We wanted to make sure that we didn't just rip it up and start again. That's a big ask. A lot of these lads know how we play. They understand, I suppose, our glossary of vocabulary when we're within our game strategy. So it's important to keep that continuity. And the new lads will have to come in and learn very quickly, which a big part of our recruitment was their intelligence. So yeah, we're understanding of what's ahead of us. It's going to be a big task, but look, we feel like we've got all of the tools and the resources to be able to put a real positive and important season together, and that's going to be right from the outset, and that's why we've been working so hard behind the scenes.
And you understand the level that the club's going to face at National League, and you've brought in some new faces who've also had that experience at step one.
Yeah, I think it was key. Yeah, along with that continuity of the players that we feel that we've retained. Those players we've always felt could go to the next level. Probably some of them are actually more suited to the National League as opposed to the National League North, with the different style of players in general. But yeah, first of all, our lads, we know, we played against Hartlepool last year and Braintree, and we pit our wits against some real good teams in the National League in my time here. So, we know we're capable, but we also need to improve, and that means bringing in experience. It means bringing in real quality, some strong mentality, and some leaders, like the likes of Jack Price, just an out-and-out leader that is important around the group. Kyle Morrison, leader, important around the group. Just to name a couple of the lads. So, yeah, we're really happy with the recruitment thus far. We're holding our nerve and just making sure that we don't act too rash. So there may be 1 or 2 additions to that group. We're not sure yet. We're really happy with what we've got, but we still like to be in every room and making sure that we're being competitive with regards to more signings. So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, listen, we're really happy with the group, the retention, and also the new additions. We're really proud that they've chosen this football club, because we're a different proposition. When you're in the National League North, signing for Brackley is really exciting. When you're in the National League, you're convincing players that we are going to be more than just survivors. You're convincing players that we haven't hit our ceiling, and that's what we believe. So everybody at the football club understands what's happening here. I think our fans are probably the best fans for that. They understand where we've come from. They understand where we are right now and the massive task ahead of us. But look, we're not here to make up the numbers. We're here to really hit the ground running, and as much as we understand the huge task ahead of us, it only makes us more determined to try and be successful and to have a really good season.
There's a real buzz around the club, and we can hear your excitement, and part of the preparation for the new season, of course, are the pre-season friendlies, and we start off in 10 days' time with the visit of the Cobblers here. Yeah,
it's, we love having Northampton come to us. When John Brady was there, it was brilliant relationship with him. He was a class act, and equally now Colin Calderwood, absolute class act, and someone who, it's early for us in pre-season, it's early for them as well, so we needed to have some real synergy in how we want to approach that game, and how the players are going to sort of ease themselves into it. But it's going to be a great game, and Obviously Northampton, local rivals, so it'll be played in the right spirit, of course. But you know, it's brilliant to work with such good people down there.
And just thinking, turning our attention for a moment to the 9th of August, that first Saturday, for match day number 1. You'll be looking at those fixtures when they come out on the 9th of July. Particular games that you're especially looking forward to?
Yeah, listen, you know me, Tim. I compartmentalise, don't I? So, you know, I control the controllables, and at the moment there's no fixtures on the table. So our whole thing is making sure that we're ready for the opening day of the season. You know, these lads we've just had a conversation there around how we're going to approach things and what's expected of them and what's expected of the staff and being around the football club. So that we know that we've got our plan set out for the coming weeks, and we want to make sure that they're peaking around the start of the season. So that's what we're really focused on at the moment. It's exciting. Obviously, some of the football clubs in the league it's a dream for this football club and for this town, and we're really proud of that. But again, we're not here to make up the numbers. We're here to really give the best account of ourselves and put our best foot forward. So that's what we're doing. Like, you know, it's great that we've achieved this, but it's done now. No one will ever take it away from us. But you know, it's done now. We're on to the next task and the next goal.
And that's a great message for supporters to hear. Finally, perhaps the most important message for supporters to hear is that you signed a 3-year an extension to your contract at the club. Can you just tell us about your thoughts in signing on here again at Brackley Town for us?
Yeah, first of all, you know, thank God for being given the opportunity and the football club being able to present me with 2 years ago an opportunity to take this club to the next level. So I'm really proud, really blessed with that. There was no decision to make, really. You know, the whole decision was on commitment and whether we were going to be, I suppose, you know, a statistic. You know, we wanted to make sure that we were being given the resources, and you know, Alan Layton and you know, the chairman, the CEO, they've all just been really forthcoming in saying, look, you know, we want to give you a fighting chance. So look, that's what's happening. A big part of that was my commitment to the football club as well. I'm really proud to say that I'm, you know, due to be here now for another 3 years, along with my assistant Jamie and my staff. It was, like I say, it was a very easy decision, but it was all really about making sure that we hadn't hit our ceiling. And you know, I'm really thankful to the people at the football club for giving us this opportunity. I'm really thankful for, you know, being given the tools to be able to go and give the best account of ourselves in this league, because it's going to be a real tall task. You know, it's going to be really tough to overcome week in, week out. We're going to hit some really tough times. You know, at the moment our win percentage is huge, you know, over the course of 2 seasons, and that might drop slightly. You know, that might look a little bit more difficult. I hope it doesn't. But that might drop slightly, and there's going to be some times where everybody's going to have to stick together, and no one does that better than Brackley Football Club. So it was a no-brainer for me, for Jamie, for the staff to stay here, and just thank God we're being given the opportunity.
Well, that's the best news for supporters to hear. Thanks for sharing your thoughts this evening.
Thanks, Tim.